Back here in Germany, the country's center-left Social Democratic Party has ruled there are no grounds for it to expel the former chancellor Gerhard Schröder over his ties to Russia. The party says Mr. Schröder did not break its rules by working for some of Russia's biggest companies.
Gerhard Schröder was Chancellor of Germany from 1998 to 2005, a power politician who always kept the interests of business in mind. He was also known for his close friendship with Vladimir Putin. It all seemed to work out fine back then. But listen to how the head of the party Schröder once led describes him now. Gerhard Schröder has been acting as a businessman for many years now, and we should stop perceiving him as an elder statesman, as a former chancellor. He earns his money working for Russian state-owned enterprises. And if you ask what he's done wrong, his defense of Vladimir Putin against the accusation of war crimes is absurd. After his time as Chancellor, Schröder soon joined the board of Nord Stream, the pipeline operator long at the centre of Europe's battle with Russia over gas. His various roles working for Russian energy firms Gazprom and Rosneft reportedly earned him hundreds of thousands of euros. There was criticism of those relationships from the start, but when Schröder spoke up on behalf of the Kremlin during Russia's invasion of Ukraine, attempts began within the SPD to remove him from the party. In an interview this month, Schröder said Russia wanted to negotiate an end to the conflict. And he seemed to suggest that he could help that happen. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky was clearly angered by his intervention. He called it disgusting. Chancellor Scholz, also an SPD member, has been reticent on what should happen to his predecessor. He has called on Schröder to resign from his jobs at Russian companies, but is clearly worried about the damage already caused. I don't think it's right for Gerhard Schröder to hold these offices, and I think it would be correct for him to give them up. Whether it's harming the SPD, given that everyone is aware we do not agree with it, I don't know. I hope not, but I don't think it is. Gerhard Schröder has stepped back from some of his roles, but many Social Democrats want to exclude him from their ranks.
I'd like to welcome now Holger Becker from the SPD. He's a member of the German Bundestag. Thank you so much for taking out the time to take our questions, sir. I want to start off right off the bat. I mean, if maintaining close ties to the president of a country that's essentially violating international law and personally earning money from activities in that said country's energy firm does not violate SPD party rules, what does? Is there a red line for the SPD?
Yes, indeed. You have to keep in mind that expelling a person from a party in Germany has pretty high hurdles, and it's basically a judicial argument. While his position politically is totally isolated, and I mean, you will not find anyone, I think, within the SPD who will support his political positions. You have to keep in mind that the legal standpoint, which is the basis of today's decision not to expel him from the SPD, is on a different platform. You have to make sure that, or you have to prove that you're really violating and you do harm to a party.
But isn't he harming the party, though? Hasn't he become a lot? Sorry for interrupting you. Is he not actively harming the SPD?
Yeah, I mean, of course, whenever we are out and speak with people, it's typically a question which comes up pretty quickly is how do you stand or how do you position yourself with regards to Schröder's position? And it's pretty clear that everybody is actually hoping that he's leaving the party voluntarily, because indeed there is very little common ground these days with his positions. But as I said, officially dispelling him from a party is a much more difficult situation.
Okay, I understand. So it's difficult to expel him. He is not leaving voluntarily. He's staying with the SPD, at least for now. That's what he's signaling. Is there a split within your party? How divided is the SPD on this very issue of Mr. Schröder?
and certainly there is absolutely no division, as I said before, on the political grounds. I think he will not have any support in his positions in defending, in the way he is defending Russia's policies.
So nobody's defending. Yeah. So
total
that's really
anonymous.
Yeah. So they do not agree with his points of view and his relations with the Russian leader. Yet at the same time, this regional committee says, well, but also, we don't see grounds to expel him. So which one is it?
As I said, it's a thin line we have to walk here. And I think our party leadership has made that abundantly clear, that he has absolutely zero support from the party on any level. On the other hand, as I said, it's a judicial process expelling someone from a party. And therefore, I think it's much more important that the SPD stands together on the political side and makes it clear that his statements are not at all a statement of the SPD. And that he's totally isolated within the party.
So will there be a legal battle now to expel him?
He will have, there is now a 2-week grace period where both parties can actually intervene and ask for a revision, and we'll have to see what's going to happen.
Let's look at it from a different point of view. Given Mr. Schröder's very close ties to the Russian president, did your party ever consider using Mr. Schröder as a potential mediator in the Russia-Ukraine crisis?
To be honest, in the first days of the war against Ukraine, I think that was some kind of hope some people had. And I have to be honest myself, I also had that high hope to say, even if it was not acceptable that he would still have positions within, let's say, Gazprom or so the boards, but his political relationship, his personal relationship to Putin would have been a way to try to influence him. And that's what Schröder actually tried to do with his first visit in Turkey in the beginning of the war. But what he should have done was, when these talks failed, he should have stepped down and immediately distanced himself from Putin. And as he did not do this, I think that's when he lost any support within the SPD.
In a few words, sir, I have to let you go. How damaging has this whole episode been?
Yeah, I think, as I said, it turns up in basically any conversation we have on the streets. And yes, it certainly has a certain degree of damage, but I think we can make it clear that he's isolated within the party. So he's not speaking for the SPD anymore.
Holger Becker from the SPD, member of the German Bundestag. Sir, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.